Hello, this is Mike. In this presentation, I want to think about one of the most important tools available to us in social media, the blog, and give some general guidance on the art of blogging itself and what it could be used for. So, in terms of the presentation, I want to briefly give some basic terminology for those perhaps unfamiliar with blogging to any great degree. I want to highlight what are sometimes referred to as the 6 pillars or key ingredients of blogging success, and offer some general guidance on, once you get started, how to build your presence. So, a quick blogging 101 from me. The term blog is derived from web and log, or weblog, and essentially it's a dynamic website able to host different types of media. Text, images, video, audio, you name it, it's possible to post there. It's a kind of a journal, and it could be personal or organizational, but it's about publishing and talking, commenting and sharing. And it's probably one of the simplest methods you could use to develop a social media presence and to make your organization appear more human. But done right, it can actually also be one of the most effective ways of developing your brand. So a blog is very, very versatile, very, very straightforward, very, very powerful. There are lots of reasons why you might decide to blog. I quite like it because it's freer, less formal and restrictive than other ways of publishing. It's quite different to a formal website. It is like a dynamic journal or diary. It allows you to share content and to connect itself to other platforms. Blogger, for instance, is a common platform. It links beautifully with Google Plus and YouTube, so you can actually spread your message through a range of different channels and reach a wider audience than you could from something more static. A blog can be integrated into, say, a corporate website. Blogs typically are things that people want to come back to time and time again. They want to read today's installment. So a blog can pull in regular traffic to a site that the pages of which might not change very often at all. Blogs are particularly good at establishing credibility and thought leadership, both for individuals and for organizations. Once you start getting regular people following your blog, reading your updates, you can quickly establish yourself or your organization as having a certain degree of expertise, much more effectively than mass advertising. And ultimately, it can be entertaining. Whether you're talking about being an individual, a celebrity, or an organization, a major brand, you can have fans and you can engage with your fans and provide entertaining content that strengthens your brand presence. So blogs have all sorts of uses and advantages. In terms of terminology, well, the blog is the online journal itself. The content is typically referred to as a post. This is kind of a short piece or article put into the blog. Blogs usually have categories, so you might blog around lots of different subjects. If you take a newspaper's blog, it'll have news headlines, perhaps divided into national and international. It'll have entertainment pages, sports pages, and so on. So those are the categories. Within each category, there'll be tags. So under sport, there might be a tag or a keyword, if you like. Golf, used to help raise the profile of a particular post in a search engine. And where the blog is located is the platform. It might be internal, it might be external. I've mentioned Blogger, but there are others such as WordPress, which are really good. So that's our blogging 101, some basic terminology. But what makes a blog actually successful. Scobie and Israel talk about the 6 pillars of blogging success, and I think these are really useful. The first pillar, the essential ingredient of a successful blog, is that the content needs to be publishable. It can't just be a collection of ramblings. It must have a degree of structure to it. Even if you're writing in a very informal way, and I keep a blog and it's very, very informal and chatty, you've got to work hard to develop a style and make the content publishable. It's got to be something somebody wants to read, or there's no point in posting it there. The second pillar is it needs to be findable. So you need to be topical in terms of what you're talking about and use those keywords and tags very carefully. No point in posting something very eloquent on your area of accounting expertise, for example, if no one ever finds that post. It needs to be sociable. One of my pet hates is that people do a blog and they keep it regularly updated, but they turn off the comments and the sharing facilities. Social media is about the art of conversation. Blogging should be about the art of conversation. So whatever format you're using, be sociable, allow people to comment and respond, get discussion going. Discussion drives traffic, drives search engine optimization. Remember that sequence. The fourth pillar is it needs to be linkable. Yeah, connect your post to something else. I keep a blog where I talk about consumer behavior, and regularly I take quite academic papers and I do short posts which summarize them in plain English and hopefully make it entertaining as well as a little bit enlightening. So I always, within my post, however, include a link to the journal or the specific article that I'm talking about. That's the type of thing you need to do. Reach out and generate traffic. It needs to be syndicatable. The other thing I have on my blog is the opportunity to subscribe, so by email or by RSS feed. This is really important. A blog is most useful in a business context, whether profit or not for profit, when it has regular visitors, regular readers, regular fans. So have some way where your content can be syndicated so people can actually be alerted when something new is posted. And it needs to have the potential to go viral. Don't keep changing your content. Don't keep moving it. If you post a video and it's got huge potential, for example, keep the link to that post permanent. If you strike gold and your content spreads around the world very quickly, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, frankly, if you keep moving that content so people suddenly can't find it again. Look at some of the most famous examples of viral content that you can think of. See how long they've had a particular URL. So those are the 6 pillars of blogging success. Publishable or findable content delivered in a sociable way that's linkable and syndicatable and stable enough to be allowed to go viral. So how do you develop your blogging presence? Well, there's whole books written on this, but I just in 2 or 3 slides want to summarize some advice from me. Don't forget that it's just a structured website. Don't forget that all of your little conversational articles have their own URL. And when you're sharing content, use them quite effectively. Yeah, so people go straight to a particular post. Platforms like Blogger and WordPress, externally hosted, make it really easy not only to publish a blog, but to keep it updated, because that's really important. If it's stale and hasn't been updated for weeks, nobody's going to give your blog a second chance. If you want to establish expertise and credibility, you want it to become popular and regularly visited. And so keep it up to date and use the technologies available. I quite like WordPress and Blogger because they work quite well from my smartphone or my tablet. So wherever I am, I can post on the blog. Very straightforward, but it keeps it up to date. Choose a platform where people can receive notifications of updates too, and always have that switched on. You want to engage in pull marketing. You want people to draw content towards themselves. You want subscribers, in other words. So make sure your blog has that. Otherwise, again, you won't build presence very well. Write in a personal, conversational way. Remember, this is a conversational business model. If you want a very formal, static website, go for a traditional corporate site. If you're going to have a blog, at least make it have a degree of informality about it and read more naturally. Remember, it's ultimately a diary, whether it's for you or your organization. In terms of search engine optimization, you need rich content to score high in search engines. So don't just put lots of text. Unless you're very clever with keywords, it's not going to get much traffic. An image or a video really makes it shoot up the search engine rankings. So use the Web 2 medium to its fullest effect, and make sure that you routinely update with rich content. Treat it like a newspaper or a magazine. Have regular publishing schedules. Get yourself into a discipline. That's the way to build fans and presence. Don't forget, starting a blog is not for the faint-hearted. These are very, very content-hungry tools. So if you want to get a presence going, you need a lot of content, posting several times a week. That's the way to get readers to keep coming back, and you have to be able to keep that pace up. So whatever the theme is of your blog, make sure there's enough material out there, otherwise don't have a blog about that subject. You need energy, enthusiasm, and time devoting to keeping a blog. My academic one, I go in fits and starts. I'm good some of the time, I'm not so good other times. There are people much better than me. I just get too busy. So try and establish some kind of discipline to keeping your blog. It's really, really important. And remember, it's a conversational business model. Make sure that the comments are there too. Comments spread too, not just your posts. So all the interactivity is not only true to the medium, it actually helps you establish your presence. Be short and punchy. 500 to 700 words is enough for a blog post, People go to blogs because they want short, interesting things to read with links to more detail if they want it. They don't want to go on there and read a 5,000-word academic paper. Vary the topics. Be factual, be practical, be entertaining, be opinionated, within clear guidelines you set for yourself, of course. But make it comment-driven and enjoyable to read. As I say, use images and videos well and check things like copyright. And also, you've got to attract attention. 500 to 700 words isn't a lot, but you want people to actually read it. So don't put something very boring and dull, new accountancy standards, as your headline for a post. Try and think of something a little bit more engaging. Use humor. Shock value if need be. How-to posts are always popular too, so how to update your blog would be a good post. If people see the how-to or why, they tend to go for that too. So learn from newspapers. Think about the headlines and taglines. That's my best advice on that one. Share your blog as much as possible on social media. Get your blog's address on your email signature. Put posts into Twitter to drive people towards your blog. I'm not a great fan of connecting lots of channels together with the same content. Different content should go through different channels, but alerting people to a blog post via Twitter I do like, because it brings more traffic to the blog very, very effectively. A Twitter button on your blog is also good too. Don't underestimate the power of the blog roll. That's one of the best pieces of advice. Once you start linking to other people's blogs, in other words, having a links list, you'll find people in social media are quite social. And they will very, very frequently reciprocate, yeah, and a network of blog spreads. Write for the medium, yeah, and accept blogging is a form of publication in its own right. So study good blogs and see what other people are doing. It is a bit follow the leader, but do that. Study other people, comment on their blogs. If you do that, people will revisit yours in return. People reading your comments will look for your own blog, and so on. Remember, it's a network that you need to spread. So that's just some thoughts from me on the art of blogging. It's a massive subject, but in general, I would say keep the basic terms in mind. Don't ever forget about, for example, categorizing posts and tags that are essential for search engine optimization. Remember the 6 pillars of success and build your presence by being social. It is a social medium, and developing networks with other blogs. That's the best way to establish leadership in your chosen field. So there you are, some thoughts on the art of blogging, which I hope you found useful. Thank you.